Hey guys, we just arrived to Northwest Colonial Festival, and let's go.
Go stand in front of the barrel.
Yes, sir. I.
Hi.
R. R. I'm a sailor. R. I've only got 3 letters.
Okay, this is called a 3-pound because the cannonball weighed 3 pounds. And it was enveloped by a fellow by the name of Verbruggen, who was a Dutch fellow who was the master armorer for the Brits in the 1750s. A castable, this knob back here, and where this is pinned is below the center of where the barrel is. It's not in line with it, it's below it. Going up and scoots back. Now if I move this up in line, it will go straight back. You know, that makes it go straight. Because if it's spinning, it can't tumble. You make the bullet come up, spin.
This guy said he had some styrofoam, but let's just put a couple planks up there. Sure. I want you to put the log on the bridge. Yes. I want you to put a little plank over here. Put the plank on the bridge.
Go to 21, which is British Command.
We saw the spot, the catfish. He got over here and then...
You are newest recruit, is that right? That's good. What is your name, sir?
Andy.
Nathaniel. How old are you, Nathaniel?
8.
Good. Are you a good, loyal subject of His Majesty the King?
I don't know what you mean.
What? You don't? What? You don't talk about the King. You don't swear to the King. You don't raise your glass. Well, you're too young to it. To you. Oh, it does. Perfect. As long as you just give your loyalty to the King, we'll be in good shape.
He's ready to sign up.
The bullet you put in a rifle is actually touching the sides of the barrel, so you use more of the powder, more of the pressure of the explosion would send a bullet instead of going past the bullet. But it doesn't make it necessarily go farther; it makes it go straighter. Okay, that hole goes into the back, so you put a little bit of powder there, then you put the rest of the powder down here, and the lead balls in there. And the paper, and you take this rammer right here, except it's kind of stuck because it's raining.
Oh, yeah.
You pull that out and you shove everything down. That's right. And then you cock it, and see this thing looks like a rock? It's a piece of flint, and this is hardened steel. And this thing's going to hit that and shave off a little bit of steel. And look right here, it's going to make some sparks. Sparks? Yeah, that makes the powder burn, and then the bullet goes down range.
Hi there.
Hi.
How are you today? If you go to sea with us, you'll have a hammock, and that will be your berth, your bed. This is kind of a decorative one, so that's why we have them upside down.
So what is this all about here?
This is a colonial house. This is Miss Abigail's house. I'm visiting next door. Yes.
So this is like the early colonial times type of
What a house would be.
the episode, but I don't remember what.
This is more fun.
This is which was no oil on it at all. Get it?
That's maple that's been stained, so it's going to be a tiger stripe figure. And that's what this one's going to look like, and this one when they're done. Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, I'm making bread. I'll be...
This is the Colonial camp for militiamen. So you got your basic condiments. You got your flour, sugar, strong stuff, cooking oil. There's a churn here. We put buttercream in here. Then you got your regular spices here. You got your pepper, salt.
Work on doming it out. Have to tin the whole thing. Make this a little deeper. Catch a ring to the top.
more LARP themed events. Yeah, do a bunch of the rendezvous. I did this year for the first time. I did a week. We'll make this work. The ability to do printing in fabric or on stationery or any of that kind of stuff. Yeah. You would actually draw out. Come across those by accident.
I got some really beautiful things.
Lord, I think I would.
And all that thread, okay, it was a huge tub full of threads, and I picked out several. I didn't pick all of them. I picked out the ones with the wood.
That right there makes it worth 3 costume colors.
Right? It was fun.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah.
I'm in the middle of the doorway.
You're fine. There, and then I can. Isn't Square fabulous?
Where to find out about George?
Hi.
England beat France to Australia by 2 weeks. And Spain and England got Australia. I don't know. Spain took South America and then the Pope partitioned South America and gave part of it to Portugal.
So when you look at Lewis and Clark stuff, narrow spot. I teach Oregon Trail stuff.
Sure.
So Lewis and Clark.
This is when they close.
Got here. They said that's the dumbest thing you ever did, Thomas. Oh well, so I did not do very good in legislature either. I did in the second Continental Congress. I did some things, and then I was elected into Congress, and wouldn't it be nice if it would, but they still figured out it was me. They said, Thomas, you have a laptop. You go and write it. So I lifted up the lid of my laptop. There was my inkwell and my quill. That you call it a mouse, right? And my parchment paper. And I was sitting in that second story of that house in hot Philadelphia. Oh, hot Philadelphia summer. And I thought, I'm going to write a letter to the King of England, and this is my death sentence. And what am I going to say? What in the world could I say? So I believe I was inspired. I believe the voice of John Adams and Sam Adams and Ben Franklin and George Washington and many, many more, as well as my teachers, they all started coming together to saying one thing. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. They are endowed with their Creator by inalienable rights. And among these are life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. Then I put in a paragraph about slavery. See, now I was inspired. And they looked at that and they said, 95% of this is wonderful, Thomas. This is exactly what we're thinking. We're going to erase that paragraph on slavery. And they said, now we're going to send this to King George. Your name's on it. And they,
Yesterday, because I said you.
That's good.
Another llama. Are you going to take care of it? Going to take care of these guys?
Is this way to twist business. Later they became bigger calibers to hunt, or mainly to stop grizzly bears. Barrels.
so you could clamp it in the rifle.
Who are you?
I would be a legislator, somebody, a congressman. That sort of like
British thinking. White.
Did you guys have a dog when you were guys?
They were hunting dogs because I like to fox hunt. But I also developed my own foxhound. It's called a Virginia foxhound. I crossbred several different dogs.
What he just gave me? He gave me a memento and a card.
He was the sheriff and do his duty there. You see, duty can be served in many, many ways throughout the war. And duty can be served with a good heart and fighting for liberty in which way you can. How much then that we would have the rights and not unjust urgency. Rights that may seem familiar. Mr. Mason agreed. Yes. So among your women friends. Yes. Were you concerned in writing the Bill of Rights that somehow it wasn't called the Bill of Rights?
Just long enough for the people of Concord to take their military supplies and hide
left wheel, march! Run! Left wheel, march!
as they secure the bridge. Their commander, a man named Smith, very highly defaulted carriages that they happened to find. The cannons have been hidden. They never fire. And British soldiers mixed with some very irritated militiamen. Follow the events at Concord Bridge. This is not the end of the battle, nor the start of the war. As the British march back to Concord, there's no firing. You would think the war started. British soldiers have been killed. Hasn't the war started? Thousands of American militia push in on Concord, and they face down the British. 700 British, looking at must be 2,000 or 3,000 militia, and nobody shoots. In fact, an odd event occurs where a man walks out from behind one of the buildings carrying a keg of cider and begins to serve cider to both militia and British alike. And after he had emptied his cider barrel and walked away from the British, he said they were very nice fellows. And the British at that time made a grave error again. As they turned to march back to Boston, they began to fire at the militiamen surrounding the road as they go back to Boston. They will march back to, they don't reach Boston, they go to Charleston, which is on a peninsula across the bay. It will take them until midnight. And during that entire time, this event has taken place at noon. During those 12 hours, they will be under fire the entire time. Over 299 are killed and injured. Remember, there's 700 of them. They are only saved when another group of British march out of Boston, 1,200 British soldiers, and reinforce them and save them. They may have been destroyed by the militiamen. At that point, whoever it was, that stupid British soldier in Concord that fired that shot, that truly was the shot heard round the world, because now there was no turning back. 299 British soldiers were killed by British citizens. And there's going to be a break. But the story's not over when they get back to Boston. Because when they get back to Boston, they will find that they are encircled. Boston is like an island. It's only got a small neck that connects it with the mainland. And they are entirely surrounded. By the end of the next day, it's been estimated there were 20,000 American militiamen. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Hampshire, they were all sending their militia. And the British force, 4,000 men. They're totally outnumbered. The war will drag on. The British will leave Philadelphia, and they will move and capture Charleston, another of our largest cities. They've captured Boston, they've captured Charleston, they've captured Philadelphia. They've captured cities, but they've never defeated the people. And when they move to the south, they will make a grave error, and they will move their army to Virginia on the Yorktown Peninsula. And George Washington will come down from the north with his army and the French army, and a French navy will appear. And with their help, we will capture a British army under Lord Cornwallis on October 17th, 1781. And Lord North, the Prime Minister of England, will tell the king it's over. And the king will be forced to begin negotiations. In 1782, they begin those negotiations. In 1783, they sign the Treaty of Paris, declaring that the colonies are independent from Great Britain. But that's not the end of the story. Is it one country? 13 separate countries having arguments with each other. Virginia and Maryland go to war over the Potomac River. New York and New Hampshire go to war over a strange place called Vermont. And there are arguments over each state has its own money. Each state has its own taxes. Each state wants to be their own country. We do not become a nation until September 17th, 1787, when they signed a constitution that wrote that we are one United States. That is what this shot at Concord began. It ends 12 years later in Philadelphia. Thank you for your time.
forward by the left wheel.
Front, Clash!
March!
Out onto the road.
Get around this. And then put the water part on the shoulder. And then the trigger facing downwards.